Welcome to another episode of Nights at the Brown Table, a podcast of three Pacific Islanders sharing our views and the lens through which we see the world. I'm Sefa.
I'm Sila.
To the vast intergalactic space of the interwebs, it is a songstress, seamstress, mistress, mattress of this generation. The person who sometimes claims the heritage of our colonizers, German and Chinese, who is also a photographer and does all that in a bag of chips and more. Lamah, hi.
Hey.
Oh, so he's a seamstress. That's awesome. How long have you been sewing for?
You know, it's interesting. It's an interesting question because when I
he's
started
American
sewing,
as well now. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for asking.
Is that where you learnt your craft?
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And that's that.
Well, we have a guest with us tonight. His name is IKI HAANGANA. He's a Sydney-Born Tongan clothing / fashion designer of Public Island Society. And we're having him on today to give us some insight. Say hi.
Oh, hi.
That was so demanding.
Wow.
Say hi.
Say hello.
Great intro. No, hi. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited. As my voice dies, I'm like,
Fade out.
I'm not used to like a microphone.
No, there's a lot on here in regards to some of the accomplishments that you've done.
Yeah, someone did their research.
How long you've been in the game? That's Lamah.
Yeah.
Journalist. Oh, I should add journalist to my title.
Your title, you should.
Seamstress, journalist.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, how are we going to make it rhyme? Some introductions.
I'm a fashion designer coming up from Mount Druitt. And I always say that because a lot of people sort of look at Mount Druitt like, it's a bit shady. And I'm like, it's not that I'm trying to humble myself. It's that I'm trying to let people know that there are a lot of creative people coming out of Mount Druitt, makeup artists and artists in general, creative people in general.
What's your star sign? Your new updated one.
I'm an Aquarius.
Oh my god, that's me too!
Is that updated? What do you mean? Is that updated?
It didn't really affect anyone, the extra planet. Everyone was like,
I did.
Yeah.
Mine got moved. I got moved to Capricorn.
So when's your birthday then?
21st of January.
That might have been affected.
It might have, but I'm not doing that.
I'm sticking with the OG star sign.
But you guys are Aquarius. What does that say about... I mean, that makes sense because both of you are very creative. But what else?
Creative, introverted.
Heavily introverted.
So was
Songstress, seamstress,
Journalist.
mistress,
Journalist.
mattress. Just the usual.
Oh, that mattress one.
When I had initially reached out to you, I talked to you about what was some of the topics that you wanted to speak about. And something that you came back with was a statement saying creativity is problem solving. And we wanted to unpack that statement a little bit. But give us your insight as to what does that mean?
Basically, a lot of people, there's sort of like a massive misconception about creativity. A lot of people think it's drawing, painting, music, writing, acting, all that good stuff, dancing even. But it's not. That's sort of more like an artistic side to creativity. But a lot of where creativity comes into is problem solving. So that whole thinking outside the box. It's a lot about being solution based and trying to come up with things. And so you'll find that even though you're not artistic, a lot of people are still heavily, like, really, really creative.
That makes sense because there are some positions that you have in certain fields of expertise where they have a somebody that's called like creative solutions, and it's not like you were saying. It's not just being artistic. It's about coming up with a solution to do something better or identifying what's missing in a certain area, and then how can we go beyond what is already been doing. It's already been done at the time.
So in your fields, give us an example.
Well, a lot of problem solving, especially in what I do, is you'll find a lot of it happening backstage at fashion shows. So there's a lot of mishaps that happen. Things break, zippers break. So you got to come up with solutions like quick snap. You can't like dwell on it too long. Everything needs to be fixed up quickly. So that's like a different side of the creativity that I have. For example, I might use this as an example. Everyone sort of has their favorite item, and mine is like a bomber jacket. And so the way that the bomber jacket sort of came about, and people are wondering like, oh yeah, that orange on the inside is like a really cool design, cool detail. But there's actually a reason behind it. No, during the war, a lot of pilots wore the bomber jackets so that if they were hit and their plane went down, if they survived, they would turn their jackets inside out and the orange would be visible from the other pilots, so that they would be able to send help
and be rescued
or come and rescue them themselves. So there's like a solution based to design. It's not just because I love the color or there's like a reason why.
From the top of my head, the only thing I can think of is like creating a simple process for my clients, so I'm not actually being artistic in a sense, but I do things like I have an online gallery for my clients, or I put something together like a guide for my clients to read before we start shooting and whatnot, and that kind of creates a sense of it's more easy for them to kind of grasp what our vision is in general. So it's not creative in the sense where it's artistic, but it's creating a solution to create a more, I guess, an interactive experience for my clients in a way.
So what does it mean to think outside the box? Because for me, like, when I think problem solving, for some reason, I automatically think maths. And I'm like, I am crap at maths. And it's interesting to hear the concept that creativity and being artistic are separate, even though they can be intertwined and in use and whatever. So what does it mean to think outside the box?
Thinking outside the box just means finding different avenues to answer a certain issue. You might have an issue, and then the people around you might have one each. But then it's exploring furthermore what else, even if it's like a stupid idea, just throw it in. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but sometimes those are where the best ideas come from. Because some people can be set in their way of thinking.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then that's sort of our box that we sort of trap ourselves in. And once we sort of think out freely, just let go with our thoughts, then that's sort of where a lot of the creative stuff comes from.
Yeah, because sometimes for me, I think that if something has worked before, hence why it's still in the box, then why don't we just keep on using that way?
Yeah. Well,
and so it's interesting to think that there's I know that that's how a lot of inventions and things have come to pass, is because someone thought, okay, what is the easier way to do it? What is a different way to do it? Hence why we have drive-through when it comes to Macca's, as opposed to like walking inside.
No, for real.
Like
so thank you to electricity
and Eljana.
Thank you to those people. So,
Uber Eats. No, for real. Like those are...
Uber Eats is the devil. I just want to clarify. Uber Eats, DoorDash.
But I mean, if you want to sponsor me, like, let's go.
No, but that's interesting that you bring those up, because like those are creative solutions. I've never thought of it that way.
all of the apps that we have today, or I'd say most,
Majority of them, yeah.
are something to like answers to a solution that someone goes, why don't we do this? Why don't we have people connected to an app whoever needs a ride, they can just get on an app, and then there's someone in the area who can take them somewhere. And then that's how Uber sort of came about. What else is there? Is like people with bad credit couldn't afford larger priced items online, and then that's where we have Afterpay.
Thank you, Afterpay.
I know. Please sponsor.
I love Afterpay.
All this product placement.
Afterpay is so good.
We can't afford to mention any more people.
As someone who is Polynesian, how do you think that has developed for you in the sense of whether it's your upbringing, your circumstances that you brought up in, and then thinking, like there's a different way that I could do this?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, Pacific Islanders in general, we've come from somewhere that's like really creative. You've had to live on an island. You've had to come up with ways to live and survive and sort of carry on. And I think our background sort of comes into it. Growing up as a Pacific Islander, I don't know. It's hard to answer that question because I've just always thought of myself as creative. I just have always done what comes naturally. Yeah, so it's hard to say.
I saw that you did a piece where you used, it's like what we call fala.
Yeah.
So what made you think of using something that we would usually sit on and using it as a piece of clothing?
Well, in the Tongan culture, we use it as clothing.
Yeah.
We wrap it around our waist. I just sort of saw that and, just thought of like new ways to wear it. So the way that I design it, I make it into an actual dress or a jacket or something. We're still wearing our culture, but in a more modern type of way. Yeah.
I saw on Twitter, I think it was like a few weeks ago, and people were there was a designer that had done, what do you guys call your... The ovala. And it looked like crop tops. People were tweeting and they were saying, how dare they desecrate the sacredness of a ovala and everything. So what are your thoughts on, which is using traditional means of clothing outside of the traditional kind of means of way of wearing it? You'll
have people who are set in their ways and they're like, no, this shouldn't be touched. It goes back to our heritage, and which is fine. But then there's always other people who are always wanting to push and create something, and it's not like they create with like having some sort of malice behind it. They're just expressing what comes to them naturally, and so there's always a battle between the two, and it's either you win some, you lose some, and you kind of just have to deal with it. I ignore it. That's how I deal with everything. That's my life.
Unless it's good things.
I do what I want.
Ignore it.
I ignore small children, small animals, people in general.
When it comes to developing creativity, what advice would you give? What advice would you give young people in order to get into that headspace?
What I do is draw a little bit every day, even if you think it's ugly. It's just a way to get whatever's in your head out and onto paper, and then you can sort of carry about your day with a clear mind. Even if you're not a drawer, writing is really good. Writing, journaling is an amazing thing to help people clear their minds. And it also helps people to think, because when you're writing, ideas just flow. Wait, are you a journal type person? You're more of a doer?
Yeah.
You're heavily into
He's
journaling,
very
yeah.
into journaling.
Because you do different kinds of journaling as well, right?
Yeah.
Different kinds of journaling. What do you mean?
So, I guess one's not considered a journal. One's like my calendar. So I have two planners, or I have a planner, and then also have a separate journal. So one's more just like a bullet point of like my day and whatnot, and the other one is where I unpack like things that are on my mind that I want to get out. And like he was saying, when I'm writing, I feel like it's emptying out of my being in a sense, and it's a good way for me personally to review what's currently happening in my headspace, and then kind of I'm just identifying what are the issues. Because sometimes you don't, like, if you're in the thick of things, you can't really think outside of, like, what that thing is. But when you write it down and you reread it, you're like, oh, I can see I'm stressed because I have projects happening, or and it just, like, thinking creatively that way, yeah.
Do you physically write or do you type? Do you
Physically write.
I have to write.
Got my notebook.
I have to write with pen and paper. It's just something about holding a pen and then, like, seeing it come to life on paper. If I type it, I can still forget it. But if I'm writing it out, it's that I don't know what it is within the act of writing.
Yeah.
That's just, it's powerful to me.
Yeah. In the past, I used to journal a lot.
Yeah.
But I used to journal when I was in my feels. So when
Oh,
you
the-
look at it,
Are you manifesting more of those feels? Or-
I literally look like a crazy person because I would only write when I'm upset or when I'm angry. So when I look at it, I'm like, I need to go on meds. Like when I read what I used to write. And so I think like right now, a lot of the time I will write if I feel like, I want to understand this a bit more, or I want to share this part of my life. And so I try to steer away from when I'm just in the fields. I love that you guys do it's a daily thing. So it's a daily unpacking. So it's not so much of only when you're heightened in emotion.
I'm not sure if you were being serious or not, but you said when you're writing, you reread it and you told yourself, I need to go on meds.
Yeah.
Like that's creatively
reflection.
thinking.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
yeah.
Have you ever written something that you read later on and you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
That's like me. That is me.
Sila,
Who do you think you
relax.
are?
Like what?
Like I have
Oh my
Like what? Let's reveal.
I love books, but I hate reading. Like, does
love
that make
reading.
sense?
I think
You're
it's
like,
the
no.
whole. The thing for you is it's your outlet.
Yeah.
It's writing is your outlet. I think. I remember I was reading a book once where a woman, she never read her journals, but it was something that she passed on to her daughter, so her daughter could unpack and understand her mother.
Nice. I love that.
And so I think that's a really, it's not something that her mum would regularly go to. Like, I don't want my kids to know. I was like, all my sexcapades. I don't want anyone to know this.
I mean, that's a different kind of book.
AO.
Starts with a K.
But I think that's an awesome way, like, for some people to be able to do that.
No, just that whole day. Even if you can't do it daily, at least have a book with you at all times. Like, I carry something with me everywhere. It's in the car right now. But it's always there. Even if I'm sitting on a train, I'll just scribble. If you're the type that doesn't think you're creative, it's because you think you're not creative. like, kind of have to
That's me.
allow you. Sorry,
Like, that's me.
Sefa. Allow yourself to believe that you're creative, and then it'll just. You kind of have to let yourself believe that you're creative to be creative.
No, I have.
Otherwise,
and
you'll
then
be
Sila
like,
says
I'm not
good.
creative.
No,
Every time
I
I think
said
I'm
you're
creative.
amazing.
If I think I'm good, Sheila says your voice is crap.
Audition for Hamilton. Audition for.
But I think it's because of the reason why what you said in the first part is a lot of people don't think they're creative because they attach creativity with being artistic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whether it's so much more than that. Like when you were saying what you were reading in meds and whatnot, or like for me, like personally, like these lights, I don't like to go to bed and my lights are still on. So somebody has created this whole solution with smart lights, and you can just turn it
do
off
it on your phone.
That's all creative thinking.
Yeah. I've been watching, because I've been telling these guys, I've been watching Queer Eye a lot, and a lot of what happens with Bobby's renovations, he always says it's
Bobby's
functional.
amazing.
Yes.
He wants the space to be functional.
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome. And it's true.
But with art, it doesn't always have to be functional. Is that right? Yeah. But creativity usually
It's
functional.
It's
as well.
function to it.
When you're talking about how journaling, you carry a book with you everywhere.
Yeah.
I find that with me, a lot of the time, I will carry a book if I know I feel like I'm going to get something out of it. So every time when I go to like church or a fireside, I always have a journal, and I always write my like dot points, bullet points of to not necessarily what the person has said, but how I feel and how I'm going to live it or apply it or whatever. So I find that a lot of my thoughts aren't necessarily what they have said, but it'll go into a tangent of different things.
Nice.
And then when I go home, I always review, reflect, and then I make a plan. Okay, this is how I'm going to implement this in my life. This is how I'm going to try and be better. So I think that's a really awesome point as well with journaling. That's something that you could do.
So when it comes to the business side of being an artist, what are some of the struggles of trying to get your projects off the ground?
Yeah. Like, is it something that you can live off without having a 9-to-5 job?
It is something you can live off. I'm still trying to get there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It is something that you can live off, but at the same time, there's a sense of like risk taking that you need to take because a lot of work goes into it, especially for me. So I still have a 9-to-5 job, but then I do freelance on the weekends and whatnot. So for me, it would have to be about like taking that risk, or even like trying to build myself up to the point where I believe that I can achieve, I guess what we call it, financial independency without a 9-to-5 job. It's just that sense of security that I have at the moment that's kind of hard to picture, especially with COVID-19, the things that are happening in the pandemic and whatnot. It's an interesting time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, it's more introspective in a sense. Yeah.
Man, this whole COVID thing, I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, the whole world has slowed down for me to catch up because I'm like, I have no concept of time.
Yeah.
And then so I'm like working. I've never been more busy during this time. But also like, I feel like I'm also waiting on like orders to come through, like hoodies and t-shirts to like, because the other factories have sort of gone down.
Yeah.
And so like it's slowed down and it's allowed me to catch up, but it's also, geez, gosh, what do I do? What do I even do?
Yeah.
What are some creative solutions you've had to come up with in order to get your product out there or get out there a bit?
Or like in the beginning? Or?
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, you know what has worked for me the most is like word of mouth.
Networking.
Yeah, networking, word of mouth. When I take photographs at weddings or families, or whether it's a portrait session, people usually tag me into their photos or they credit my name.
Yeah.
And that's really worked in a sense where now a lot of people know that my name is attached to like photography, where it comes to church, where it comes to other factors of my life. So that really helped me with word of mouth. Also just like, social media, we're in a phase in life where it's accessible to anyone, whether it's like TikTok, which is really big for like photographers, or even like there's a little hashtag on TikTok called like small business check.
Oh, cool.
And then it's just like people showing how they do their businesses and whatnot, but the videos go viral and they get these numbers and there's they're building their little audience, which then links back to their Instagram, then their websites and whatnot. So it's a fascinating time to really kind of get your work out there.
Through a little click funnel.
Yeah,
they set up.
One it is. Yeah.
To another.
And how about your performance art? Like, how did
performance?
Because we went to a show that you did last year.
I mean,
and how did they know that you'd perform apart from like the church circle?
Yeah, no, it's literally social media.
What
Social media.
Oh,
So I performed at a gay club last Halloween.
Yeah.
It was such
What was the
awesome.
club called?
It was the Imperial Hotel.
He was so good. Like,
Yeah.
Wait, is there like video footage of this?
Yes,
Yes.
there's video
One of our
footage.
friends recorded it and put it on IG.
Yeah.
It was so freaking good.
Yeah,
Like,
but social media, like that's what I mean. Like social
Yeah.
media is crazy because anybody is looking at your stuff,
and it's free. Like to get it out there.
true.
Like you said, you never know who's looking. I've had plenty of job opportunities kind of open up just because they know me from something else that's completely unrelated, and then they regret hiring me when I do join the team. They're just like, you know what, this guy's all bark, no bite. We should not have hired this guy. Trash. This guy is trash.
And because I liked how with one of your dresses, I saw that, I think she was Miss Tonga Australia, but she was on The Bachelor recently.
Oh,
yeah, she wore your dress.
No,
and I thought that was
she's
beautiful.
Such an amazing soul. We met on the photo shoot for Finil because she's part Tongan.
Okay.
And so a part of the Miss what is it?
Australia.
What's the
Miss Universe. No, Miss Universe Australia.
Galo, let them go. They should let you speak. You should speak, Galo.
Yeah, it's Miss Universe Australia.
Yeah,
Miss Universe Australia. She's stunning.
Yeah, no, she's stunning. And part of one of the questions or one of the costumes that they had was to represent part of the cultural background. And she sort of wanted to represent her Tongan culture. And because I used some of the mats that we would normally wrap around our waist and modernize it into like this mini long sleeve sort of dress with like a drape, it's sort of just, she fell in love with it. She was like, I will wear anything. So yeah, shout out to her. She's like amazing.
But that's an awesome way to get your clothing
Stuff
out there.
out
Yeah.
No, it's insane. That dress was actually worn by a few people and got best dressed at Pacific Runway.
Oh, man. Flex, man.
I mean,
What year?
He was
Or
just like,
it
it
both
got
years?
best dressed.
They got best dressed.
And Miss Lala? No? Oh, sorry, Pacific Runway.
Gallo. Leave her alone.
She should speak.
I feel like you're talking about the
When they turned off the mic! They were so rude, the committee.
Yeah.
Not that I know any of them.
Right.
And
So,
I'm sorry if any of you are
His last
related.
name was Hangana.
Yeah, I think so.
dear.
I think his name was Iki. I think he's the one that switched it
I
on.
mean, when people talk too much,
So how do you think you've gotten your name out there?
it happened really slowly. What you can do is do the best that you can do and let your work speak for itself. But then there are other times where you sort of have to get out there and like force yourself to like communicate with people.
That deep breath, though.
But especially if you're introverted. Yeah.
No, after an event, I disappear for like
Yeah.
a week. I'm not speaking to anyone. I've exhausted all my words.
Yeah.
It's interesting because now I feel like we're kind of similar in the sense.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about networking and stuff, and especially being an introvert, there's a whole nother layer to that where it's like you do. Because I'm very good in social situations. I'm very performative in a way where I can handle those situations, but I don't thrive in them because they're very exhausting.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let me perform. And like when I'm taking photos, everybody knows me to be Beyonce. Like, okay, take a photo now. 3, 2, 1.
Claim it.
Everyone just calls you that.
3, 2,
They
1.
just call you that.
Literally, like I'm like 3, 2, 1. I want everyone to be like, yeah.
Wow, the runs.
And they're like, oh my god. And then when I like jump in my car, I'm like, man, I was exhausted.
I need a week off. I need a week off from all these people.
But it's funny because we're introverts, but I feel like, Sefa, you can sit there and talk to anyone.
Literally.
Forever.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And like,
As long
unpack
as they
their
don't
entire
speak.
life. Yeah.
I can talk forever. forever.
Like how you took the guitar.
Yeah, like exactly like that.
And then
As
you
long
ever-
as he shines,
Yeah, true.
But did you sing?
he did. He did.
Oh, so you took the guitar and,
And
you sang.
sang,
Yeah.
and sang when no one asked him
That
to.
poor girl. Whoever that was.
Oh, wait, no, but funny story.
violated
Was I like
someone.
that? Was I like that as a kid?
Yeah, you were always.
Oh wow!
He was always.
To-
He was
to be
always the
honest-
loud one. You
Yeah.
could hear him from the next block down.
Okay, still the same.
Like the next building.
Wait, straight up in my mind, I was just like, oh man, as a kid, I was such an introvert. I used to say I was an introvert.
Wow.
So quiet.
In what universe?
I was such a wallflower.
I was so quiet.
I was like a
I
lone
kept to
wolf. I was just dark and brooding.
Lone wolfie.
A lone wolf. I was like, nah, bro.
Man, your imaginary world.
You are creative.
You're super creative.
That whole persona that's not even real.
Stuff you.
But like just hearing, there have been a lot of good things that have come out from Mount Druitt.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you. No, just kidding.
there's, for you example, because Lamah, you're originally from Mount Druitt? Or like around that
like Green
area?
Hill, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
then there's
yeah.
like 1-4.
Yeah.
Then there's Billy Asasa. He's creating
yes.
the TV show,
so
and he's from Mount Druitt as well. So there's a lot of creatives coming out from there.
Yeah,
Right?
it's literally a hub. Do you remember that?
Is it because of the struggle? Is it because of Struggle Street?
Struggles. It was real.
No, for real.
Because that was on TV on Australia,
Yeah.
on Australian TV.
But that wasn't
show.
a fair representation.
Yeah,
of
it
the
wasn't.
struggle, though.
Yeah,
That was
people-
Wait, what are we talking
So
Struggle
there was a
Street.
TV show. I can't remember which channel it was on.
I
but
think it was
they
ABC.
ABC. They only showed people from Mount Druitt.
Like Struggle Street, Grand City. What else is there?
But creativity would, like, if you're in a place of struggle or where you don't feel as open to express yourself, do you think that you become a lot more creative?
I think it definitely pushes you to be.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, yeah, a lot of things went wrong," but it's in those times where you sort of like ideas. You
Yeah.
kind of just have to make it work.
Yeah.
And so, if you are in a situation where there's like a bit of a struggle, you do tend to you're just grabbing for ideas wherever it comes from.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to say, like, in Mount Druitt, there is, I can't remember what they called it, but it's in Westfield. I think it's like the Mount Druitt College. I can't remember what it's called, but it's essentially like this, it's like kind of like PCYC,
Okay.
but in Mount Druitt. And they had a recording studio, they had like a dancing room and whatnot. So it was really cool that there was a space for people to kind of, I guess, meet other like-minded individuals, for them to, you know, whether it's learning how to produce a song.
Yeah, no, I think it's still there. They call it Street Uni now.
Oh,
That's
got,
it,
They got
yeah.
Street Uni in Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
'Cause that's where I teach every Monday.
Oh, cool. So what do you do
I was
there
like,
on
I like
Mondays?
how you segued
Yeah,
that.
I was
into-
And
like,
that's
so-
like, oh, this was
That was
very
beautiful.
natural.
That was very
natural.
smooth.
Yeah, you did that for Make Your Mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that because I did my research.
Oh,
did my
nice
Google.
segue.
Did my Googles?
Googles.
Was there anything bad when you Googled me or?
He found your OnlyFans.
Found this new
What is this way?
Please subscribe. By the way.
Please subscribe.
sticky icky.
Oh,
no, it's
Sticky
not.
Icky is a good one.
That's a good one though.
Yeah, I've got it on a t-shirt.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, so what do you do on Mondays? What do you teach there?
Oh, so I teach just a small handful of kids, high school kids, an after-school program. I teach them like the ABCs of fashion and like how to start, or the ones who are interested. And at the moment, I'm just like forcing them to draw everything under the sun, and they're like, I can't draw, but it's just getting them confident with movement of the lines and wrists and drawing and making sure that they're in the mind frame of I can do this and like not that I can't do this. Yeah, but it's been fun and it's been surprising to me because I don't like young people. So,
I don't like helping these kids, but
but I've actually really enjoyed it. I like the group that I've got, and I think if it all goes well, we are branching out to Liverpool as well.
oh, cool.
Yeah. So if I can get another day off work, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
No, but that's probably it's probably just the right circumstance. Like I know not any sort of person. Like I can talk to anyone. I'll talk to people on the train and the bus, and I do now. But with you, it's probably just a certain circumstance where you're like, oh, I like this type of environment.
Yeah.
Where like you like being instructor, teacher.
Oh, see, I didn't even think that I could do that until like the first 2 weeks, and I'm kind of surprised myself with how much I actually do like teaching them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm avoiding them at all costs.
All cops.
Whenever these are the
All
kids I avoid at the train station.
But like, you know how you were saying with the kids, like,
Yeah.
no, you can draw.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
You can do this. You can teach.
It's the facial as well. I believe in you.
We need to film this. This is so much fun. We need a visual aspect to this table. I think it's hilarious. Thank you for that. I needed that.
He's like,
Do you know what comes to my mind? It's just a really good quote from just a show called Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's, believe in the heart of the cards. I'm
So
not sure
that's
what the
the
cards are,
takeaway.
but some cards out there. Maybe your business card? How do you kind of like finesse your pricing in a sense where you get people to pay?
and that it's reflective of the quality of work that you guys put out.
Yeah. That took like years for me to sort of find the balance, because at first it's that whole a lot of islanders will go to Cabramatta and get something made cheaply by Asian seamstresses, and they can do a great job, and then they'll come to you and expect sort of the same service and same price range.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, and so there was that confusion where at first, because I wasn't fully like into my work, I would charge those prices, and then find myself burnt out. My work was like lagging. It wasn't the best that I could do, and I find a lot of pride in doing my best work. And then over the years, as my work's gone better, like clients have come back to give me more money, and so that's sort of given me a boost to raise my price up higher and higher to what it actually, like the amount of work it shows in the compensation. But yeah, it took a long while for me to get to where I am now. I mean, I still got a long way to go. But I guess that's why I'm working on building a platform like the website, where it's just, there's the price. You can either take it or not. There's no negotiation. I don't want to deal with it. You can take it or leave it, and that's it.
Yeah. Because I find that, like, I know that a lot of the time as islanders, we try to find discounts.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to supporting Pasefika businesses, especially when it's created by Pasefika people and it's not like a pyramid scheme or anything, I think it's important for our people to pay full price.
No.
I'm just saying,
the front jab. Someone's mouth.
No, but I'm saying because you guys have put in the mental work as well as the, actually putting in the hours to do the work.
Especially if you study, that's 4 to 6 years of your life studying that field, and everything that has to do with it. And so you kind of have to put that into the pricing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like as Pasefika people, for us to support you guys and your businesses, it's important for us to pay full price instead of seeking discounts. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think especially because we're putting money back into our people, and then you guys can be able to thrive and grow from there. So I think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
My closest family, who are closest to me, they will overpay. And I'm like, no, this is too much.
Yeah.
If you're going to pay, this is too much. And they're like, no. And they'll just shove like extra money in your pocket. I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, I'm not going to fight it too much.
I'm going to keep this. No, please.
Please look into my eyes. See the struggle.
I've had mee goreng for 2 weeks.
He's like laughing because it's too real.
Oh my God, this kimchi and mee goreng noodles, I'm just like, that's my diet. And even if I had a fancy house, it would still be kimchi and mee goreng noodles.
That's really me. Like, that's what I'm having tonight.
When y'all leave, mee goreng.
Yeah, no. I have to have like the whole experience.
Yeah.
Like fill my table up with Korean food, and I'm like the happiest person.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking of Korean, now I was reading through, you did an interview with Dalanoa. I'm not sure if they're a magazine, but one of the inspirations, they talked about inspirations, and you mentioned K-pop.
Oh, these segues. Oh my God. Do you do this for a living?
So I just want to say, I am a K-pop veteran.
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, he even came on TV shows.
100 souls, I swear to God.
So how do you think K-pop has, because I've seen some of your designs, and I've seen some elements of K-pop in terms of like clothing, with some of the groups that you can see in K-pop where it's very prevalent. How do you think K-pop, or listening to K-pop, or being exposed to K-pop has also attributed to your designs and your style?
No, it's heavily influenced. I mean, other than Beyonce, it's K-pop.
But Beyonce's here.
He's like, but I am Beyonce.
You can be Beyonce, I'll be K-pop. No, it's it's the music that I listened to when I was studying fashion. I sort of fell into it before I studied fashion, and then there were a couple of Korean students who introduced me to it, and I tried to make best friends with them. And then there was 1 year where there was all these groups. It must have been like one of the labels brought all their artists, sort of like a Korea-Australia friendship thing, and did like this massive concert. And I swear to God, it's me and like one other fob that I spotted way out into the...
Is this back in 2012?
It might have been him.
Yeah, I did. And
So in 2012, there was a huge concert at Sydney Olympic Park.
Yeah.
That was 2013 or 12.
And
do you remember the groups that...
Yeah, it was like Sister, 2PM.
Yeah,
TVXQ.
I was there.
Oh, you're probably the other islander that I see.
Yeah. You're joking.
I don't know. I was literally like, I paid the VIP like just to be at the front.
Oh, you're good.
Maybe you saw me.
Oh, dude, that's funny. I always.
So you go to this concert? Yeah.
Well, I went to that concert and then I spotted only one other islander, which was probably you. That and like, I mean, it's not like you can't find.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's like shoulder.
Everyone's like up to here.
Literally tower over everyone else.
So it's easy to find your people. No, sorry, I'm like really passionate about this.
I love it.
I'm about to like cry. Think about 21, how they're done dirty and Miss A and like, my feels. Yeah.
Was Miss A the one that Susie is part of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm only into K-dramas.
Yeah.
I'm into K-dramas. And when it came to some K-pop songs, I got into them because of the K-dramas.
Oh,
yeah.
What's your favorite K-drama?
I have so many.
If you say BBF,
So she's K-drama.
I love K-drama.
Oh,
Yeah, so we started watching K-drama when my sister was still in high school. So I think about... Probably about 8 years ago. Yeah, about 8 years ago. Yeah. And the first one we watched was She's Beautiful, which is about like she dresses as a male, pretends she's her twin brother. Yeah. So that was the first one we got into, and then got into Boys Over Flowers and everything else after that.
What are you watching at the moment?
At the moment, I was watching She Was in Love, I think it's called. So I watch because I have an issue where I tend to binge. So I only watch the ones that release episode a week, so that I can control my problem with binging.
I mean, it's a healthy issue if you ask me.
Not an issue. A non-issue.
I love
I don't see the problem in that.
It gives me an unrealistic sense of love.
So,
I'm just like, Sila, this is not real life.
Yeah, and even like their music videos, they go hard out, and the whole color, the vibrancy. That's sort of, I try to incorporate that into the stuff that I do. Yeah, I mean, when I'm designing, I'm sort of imagining sometimes what they would wear.
Yeah.
like
I'm
if you could do...
Please wear my stuff.
like if you could like design for a group.
Sister. Is that what you're
I love...
No, I'm like, sister.
What's the lead singer that used it? Yeah. So I was just watching her video clips, and I was like, I love that she's an adult.
Oh yeah, now I should. Yeah, so I sent them because Sefa came last week and he said that you showed him Say My Name.
Oh yes.
And then I sent them a few other of her earlier clips.
She's grown.
Dali.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's
wow.
I
mean,
that's our web song.
Korean version.
Yeah, I agree. The concepts, I feel like that's missing within Western music too. Like, I love the whole group concept that they have. Yeah. I like the amount of work that they put into the choreography, the videos,
set design. Everything.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. Like, even because I used to be a big avid collector of K-pop albums.
Oh yeah, even that.
Yeah, I saw the way they would do albums, like they would have a photo book attached to it, or they have different designs of the album packaging itself, and then every album you get, you receive a mystery card of like one of the people in the groups. So then that would cause people to collect them and like trade and whatnot. So it's like they think of so much.
Yeah,
it's not just like a video and then a song. It's like this whole package. Yeah,
it's really well thought out.
Yeah,
they don't have long lifespans though, right?
No,
that's right. because it's an oversaturated market as well. There are constantly groups like
K-pop groups.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like
Even the
Koreans.
idols.
And
No.
I was like,
they live a long time, but I mean Korea.
I don't have a long lifespan.
Career-wise, the
Yeah.
groups, because they only come in for a certain period of time and they get shuffled
Yeah.
out, and then a new one comes in.
Yeah. And because the market is so oversaturated, there's so many new people coming in.
Yeah.
And then it's hard like to be an idol, like to be an idol in a group. It's hard life to choose.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't even get to debut.
I saw.
Or sometimes it takes like 9 years. Like people are
Yeah.
training for 9 years plus, or even like less than that.
to be a star.
Yeah, to be
To
calm,
potentially
to
be a
debut
star.
and to
Yeah.
get out there.
The first year I did Pacific Runway, I used 21 Falling in Love as my runway music.
Okay.
Like that song was like, even till now, that's like one of the pivotal songs
Yeah.
of my life. And just everyone had never heard it before backstage, so everyone was like dancing.
killed
and
it.
it's like,
Take me over here, take me to see over there.
I'm like, this is my song. And I'm like, everyone's like getting to it. I'm like, don't dance.
Don't dance.
I put this on.
I put this for me, so don't dance.
It's like the ownership.
Seeds of ownership.
Ew.
I put this on.
Not that when you meet up with your friends a week later, excuse me? This song though. For real. I don't know, I think it's really cool to see how K-pop has, I guess, inspired your designs as well, in a sense. Like you were saying earlier, it's like you're grabbing like so many different things into how you design something.
Yeah.
And I think that's always cool to see.
It's the aspect that keeps my work different from all the other Islander designers that come out. It's the things that I like the whole Japan's culture, Japanese culture, Korean culture. These are the things that I like that keep me different from everyone else.
Yeah. Is there anything that like for us to look forward to, or what we can do to support?
Well, I plan to do like a launch party next year, which hopefully you guys can make it if you're down for it.
Yeah.
We're down.
And I mean, if this whole COVID decides to go away and give me some peace. But Public Island Society is pretty much the project that I've been working on when I'm not at my 9 to 5. It's where all my energy goes into. And hopefully the website will be up early November or late October, like just in time for summer.
And Lamah?
So I'm the songwriter and singer for Public Island Society. So we're just working on a track at the moment, really trying to finesse it.
Okay.
So we're
Any
really
ideas
excited.
so far for the title? Yeah. What is it?
Oh, should we
you
show
go?
them?
No. You don't want
Should I show them?
Yeah, you can take the lead.
So we thought we'd do something like very tribal.
Very tribal.
Yeah, because
Wow.
there's never been any tribes.
Yeah.
But
Like a tribe on Mars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The laundromat.
Love it. And the laundromat.
yeah,
in
so
Mars.
the beginning goes like, yeah, it's a Public Island Society.
Wow.
Public Island Society.
Society. Wow.
You guys are blessed.
Yeah, I'm loving it already.
You guys are blessed.
I hope it really comes out on like Spotify.
Oh, but I wasn't
and-
finished.
Oh, sorry.
Public Island Society. Yeah.
Wow, you do the backup vocals as well.
Yeah, but it's
transition,
weird because
the-
like it's weird because especially auto tune.
Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's beautiful.
But if you use like the creative skills that we've been talking about, you can kind of like visualize it.
Okay.
Like yeah, but like auto tune.
Auto tune it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a discount code for when people purchase the track once it comes out?
No, full price.
The full
thank you.
price. Support Pacific businesses. Love it. Feel free to add more money. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's another episode. I'm Sefa.
I'm Sila.
And I am Public Island Society. Yeah. Lamah.
It's a hit, I swear.
It is it.
That's a wrap.
I love it. And did you see the back and forth between
Yeah.
backup and main? I love
It's
it.
called call and response in music terms.
It's called what?
Love it.
Call and response.
Call and response.
Yeah.
Wow.